Steve Kornacki and Vaughn Hilliard. Thanks to them as well. Joining us now, Michigan Senator Gary Peters, chairman of the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. Take a victory lap, Senator. You've gained your 51st seat. And that means that the committees don't have to be evenly divided. I don't have to tell you, with House Republicans forecasting a flood of subpoenas now as they take control against the Biden cabinet, Biden family. Does this mean Senate committees now, led by Democrats, can issue subpoenas and pursue their own investigations?
It does, Andrew. It's a big deal to have 51. It makes a huge difference on the individual committees. I chair, in addition to the DSCC, which I just chaired over the last 2 years, I chair Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs. We oversee the Department of Homeland Security. This will mean so many of the nominations the president puts forward, which sometimes can be controversial with my Republican colleagues. Now I can pass them because I'll have an extra member on a Democrat on my committee. We'll be able to move things much more efficiently. You'll see that in terms of judges and other critical cabinet positions and positions within the federal government. My committee is also the top oversight committee for the U.S. Senate with very broad investigation powers. We also have the permanent subcommittee of investigations within my committee. So certainly have the opportunity with the subpoena power to continue to conduct the investigations we've had in the past, but do them even more effectively.
Might you even take some of the evidence collected by the January 6th committee, which goes out of business in the first days of January when the House is taken over? Can you pick up that ball and run with it?
Well, we're taking a look right now at what we plan to do over the next 2 years. That's been a work in progress. We are engaged in a number of investigations. Today, I'm putting out my report on the pandemic response, what we saw particularly in the first 3 or 4 months as the pandemic hit the United States, and how we were woefully unprepared and some of the mistakes that were made at that time. So we're focusing on that report this week. But certainly we are thinking very comprehensively as to what we will pursue over the next 2 years, and we'll be announcing that shortly.
Well, let me follow up. If you're putting that out today, were these mistakes made by CDC or, more importantly, by the Trump White House or other agencies?
Well, it's comprehensive. There was a lot of problems. We were just simply unprepared to deal with the pandemic. A big part of that was that we underinvested in public health, the kind of surveillance and the ability to act very quickly when it became apparent that we had a pathogen that was spreading very quickly. We outline in the report a number of problems from the lack of testing that was not available until the CDC was able to get new testing, to get it out in the field, to be able to track that. There were certainly communication issues. You bring up the Trump administration. It was difficult to communicate when they started taking over communication. So critical public health information was not getting out to folks like it should have. There were supply chain issues. Clearly, we had outsourced far too much of our critical medical supplies, from personal protection equipment to just basic medical supplies. We need to make sure we're producing those materials here in the country. In fact, I put out a report back in 2019 that showed persistent shortages of critical drugs. And in that 2019 report that I put out, I concluded when there is a pandemic, the United States will find itself in a precarious situation. 6 months after that report was out, we were in a pandemic, and it wasn't an academic report, it was real. And now this report picks up further to see exactly what we did not do, what we need to do, and the kinds of changes and policy that we need to be sure we put in place now. We can't let these lessons learned not lead to concrete policy fixes.
Well, that gives us a really good idea of what your committee is going to be doing as you chair it, now that you have a working majority, not just a 50-50 split. I want to quickly ask you, though, getting back to politics, as to what this means. How important is Georgia, given, frankly, the very tough electoral map, the Senate map that you're facing 2 years from now, especially, West Virginia, Montana, Ohio, very tough states to hold on to.
They are, and I'm just so excited. This is a great day. So excited with Senator Warnock's victory. He's an amazing candidate, but even more importantly, he's just an amazing human being and an individual. And we saw just such a clear contrast between the two candidates in Georgia. And it's great to see that victory. And really, I think that kind of explains our success. This is historic. The fact that we held the majority and actually expanded our majority is something that hasn't happened in decades. It's historic. I say it's primarily because of the great quality of our candidates. Candidates do matter. And they were running against very extreme folks who are simply not qualified to be senators. And folks in those battleground states recognize that. They also ran very effective campaigns. At the DS, for example, we invested historic amounts in our ground and field operation, and that made a difference.
And we should do a shout out to Stacey Abrams. She spent 5 years working on grassroots in Georgia.
Absolutely. No question about it. And you can't do a field operation just in the last 3 months of an election or in the summer. You have to invest constantly. It's really a 2-year investment, and making sure you're reaching out and talking to folks. And of course, it became incredibly important in a runoff election when people are not used to voting in December, just for folks to know exactly how they make sure that their voice is heard. It was a monumental effort. Certainly what Stacey Abrams did, laying that groundwork in Georgia, gave us a great head start. But also Senator Warnock, he's been running constantly with 2 back-to-back tough elections, built an amazing organization. And I just do want to do a shout out, just the thousands of people who are making calls and knocking on doors and getting involved. They need to share in this victory. They were heroes. They made a difference in this democracy. And it just shows what volunteer action can do. It can win elections and can clearly protect the future of our democracy as well.
Well, Senator, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.